Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630.
737, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham. You're listening to WMAL. And look, you know, when you need somebody to explain what's going on with this crazy economy, who do you turn to? Who brings clarity of thought on this matter? Well, I know for me personally, when I want to have something explained to me on this issue, there's one guy that I turn to. The man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. Stuart Varney from Fox Business Now joins us on the line to explain all the stuff that's going on with the economy. Hey, Stuart.
Brian, I always liked you.
You better live up to all that.
I'm just sucking up to anybody who will get up early in the morning and come on our program. But no, it's great to have you, Stuart. Hey, look, you know, I saw this statistic. It was put out there in a poll from another cable news organization who shall remain nameless out of respect to you, that said that 48% of Americans believe that a Great Depression is likely. We saw some statistics earlier that said that of the first quarter growth that we saw, which was anemic at best, a lot of that was driven by businesses sort of replenishing their stocks and their inventory, but it was not followed up in any significant way by people actually buying. So what's going on out there? There seems to be a real lag in confidence about the economy.
Yeah, that's very accurate, Brian. All of a sudden, the economy seems to have just gone into stall mode on all fronts, whether it's housing, jobs, manufacturing, consumer confidence, consumer purchases, you name it. On all fronts, we seem to have hit something of a brick wall. Now, let's not go overboard here and think, oh, we're headed to another depression. That's way out there. That's a forecast that I'm not prepared to address.
Well, let me just stop you there for a second. I mean, fair enough. I think you're probably right about that. But if 48% of Americans believe we are, that is a problem.
Yes, it is, because it tells you the state of mind of the American public on the ground who have to live in this, I'm going to call it a miserable economy. Depression is an emotive word. Recession is too. I'm prepared to say that there is misery out there, and the public is reflecting that in their polls.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it from an optimistic point of view. And that is, if people are saving more money these days, credit card debt is way down, profits are still strong for the big companies, and they apparently got a lot of money on the sidelines. If there's something that sparks this economy, and I don't know, maybe it's an election or something, and it may not happen this year, may not happen next year, but if there's something that really sparks this economy and we start to create jobs, then things really could take off. Am I way out of line on that, Stuart?
No, you're not. Look, long term, things could turn very positive because, as you say, consumers are paying down the debt with, as they say, deleveraging.
Yeah.
Profits are pretty strong, and if they put those profits to work in America, that's important. Yeah, things could take off. Now, what would be the spark that turns things around? In my opinion, there's two things. You need to restore confidence that we're going to have a dynamic future. Mm-hmm. And I don't see President Obama doing that. He's talking down business. He's attacking business. And number two, I think if you could relieve the regulatory burden that's on American companies going forward, whether it's energy regulations, financial regulations, healthcare regulations, you take that burden off their back just to some degree, and you might have the spark that begins the turnaround. But it's not there yet, is it?
No.
Well, now the president has spoken at times, as he's very good at doing, about cutting the regulatory burden. Any movement on that? Any signs that he might actually go for that? I mean, he always says, well, we're going to cut the regulations that are bad, and then we'll keep the ones that are good. I just tend to think he thinks all of them are good.
Pure nonsense. Pure, utter nonsense. I bring you the case of Jamie Dimon.
Yeah.
J.P. Morgan's top guy. He gets in the face of Ben Bernanke just a couple of days ago, and he says, do you know what you're doing? Do you know what all these regulations that you're sticking on us in the financial industry, do you know what that's going to do to job creation? Now, I'm paraphrasing what he had to say, but it was in those terms that he expressed himself, and he expressed this view that regulations are strangling this recovery. You don't see that very often. Since when have you seen the top commercial banker in America go head-to-head with the top central banker of the United States of America in an open forum? I mean, if that wasn't laying down the law and stating your case forcefully, I don't know what is. And he was basically saying, get these regulations off our back. Do you know what you're doing here?
Stuart, I was stunned yesterday when I read the story out of the Detroit News about the CEO of General Motors who said, I've got the perfect solution. What we need to do is tack a $1 gas tax onto the current price of a gallon of gasoline. He thought that was something that would be good for the car industry. He was willing to exchange CAFE standards for it. But I mean, the outrage that we got when we threw this question out there yesterday was amazing. Could you believe that story?
No.
I was shocked.
Can you imagine what that kind of tax hike paid by every American would do to the economy? We've already hit a brick wall. Now you want to take $1 a gallon extra off everybody in America? A regressive tax? You want to do that kind of thing? I mean, that's pure economic nonsense, if ever I heard it. I think the gentleman from General Motors is a puppet for the Obama administration, mouthing what the Obama administration wants it to say. It is, after all, still government motors to some degree, and I think that's what's going on here. That would be a disaster, flat out.
On the gas front, OPEC meeting yesterday doesn't seem like they're going to increase production. Do they need to increase production? I mean, is there a supply problem in this country and around the world right now?
May I give you an alternate headline on that?
Sure.
OPEC's finished.
Really?
Yeah, they just wound up their worst, most cantankerous meeting ever. Half of them wanted to keep production where it is. The Saudis want to increase production.
Right.
Essentially, it's not an economic or a market-oriented split. This is a political split. This is Sunni Arabs versus Shia Iran going at it over the level of oil production and what the price should be and how we can stick it to the West. The Saudis want to raise production, lower prices, and help out the West, who are essentially their allies. The Shia in Iran, leading the charge, they want to get the price up to stick it to the West, with whom they're at war. This is a proxy war within OPEC, which has essentially finished the cartel as a functioning organization.
So do you think the cartel will break up and there'll be two separate blocks?
No, it won't break up in a formal sense, but it is totally split and therefore useless.
Fascinating. All right, Stuart, always good to have you on the program. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company. Check him out, Fox Business Channel 920 this morning on the Fox Business Channel, 744 on WM.